Welcome to 31 Days of Eorzea. This is a proper intro. Don't let anything I say convince you otherwise. We'll do the social media stuff, as per usual. Do y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hey everyone, how's it? This is your favorite Laheim, and we're joining Crow for another stream.
Yay, it's exciting. Gold is AFK right now. Gold was generous enough to help me out with, crafting and gathering. They've been on a few other streams. Good people. Crystal, that leaves you.
I am Crystal. I don't really have social media, but here to help.
Yeah, we're doing combat basics today. What they are, the ins and outs, some of the lingo. I took notes last night.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there they are. Yeah, I made a list of things that I knew we would want to cover if we're gonna go over combat basics and stuff. Like what some stuff means, some stuff that I never knew, apparently. Like, how long have I been playing and I never knew that PROC is actually an acronym and not just a word. Not just a fun word that people say. It stands for Process Random Occurrence, but we'll get into that later. Crystal, since you're right here, what job are you right now? Like, what combat job? Or are you?
I am a summoner right now.
Cool.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a summoner right now.
You main summoner, right? Like, you favor summoner, right?
Summoner is my main class. My second favorite would be dancer.
Gotcha. So, what do you like about summoner?
I like how quick and fluid it is. Also that you have a little buddy who helps you out with attacking.
Oh, yeah. Mawaz, I know you like summoner quite a bit, too.
Yeah, I do. It's got some really good AoE damage, as far as, doing damage over time goes. It's really fun
Also,
how hard it hits.
starting as an arcanist, it technically comes with a free healing class.
Yeah, that's very true.
Sure does.
Oh, bye, Garuda Iggy. Eggy?
I don't know how it's pronounced. I always say Eggy. It makes me kind of giggle.
Yeah, I've heard it said eggy and edgy both, and, you know, it's...
Edgy.
we don't know, so we just don't correct it.
Yeah, that's fair. They're all simultaneously correct. So right now I am equipped as a black mage. I mained black mage, like I favored black mage through most of Heaven's Word, all of Stormblood, and so far the vast majority of Shadowbringers. It's got good damage output, is like the big benefit to it. I like the aesthetic. Is that a reason?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I've got Y'shtola's Night Seeker, I think is what it's called.
Night Blessed, I think.
Night Seeker is what the staff is called.
Oh, the staff.
Yeah, the staff. I just wanted the staff. The dress is not quite the goth aesthetic I'm going for. Mawaz, what's your favorite job?
I don't have a favorite job, so I've been playing this game for basically since it came out, 7 years now. And when I first started, all I ever wanted to do was play Scholar. That's all I wanted to do. And so I played Scholar for a long time, rated endgame as Scholar. And then my FC mates asked if I could switch to Black Mage to take over that front. So I then endgame rated as Black Mage as a main for many years. So I did Heaven's Word and Stormblood as Black Mage.
Nice.
And then at the end of Stormblood, I was just like, you know what? I should try other things out. And so since then, I've tried out every combat job. And plus, I come from a Dragoon FC, so I had a Dragoon the whole time as well. But at this point, yeah,
Dragoon
every job has, I think, it's like its upsides and its downsides.
Mm-hmm.
And it does change, you know, like every time they do changes to them and stuff like that. So I kind of just go with the flow at the moment. No main, just, you know, everything's cool.
I gotcha. I've been maining Red Mage lately, which has a lot of similarities to Black Mage, you know, as you can see. Glamour's the same, for starters. But I think it has a little bit more utility. The downside is that the damage output isn't quite as heavy. So yeah, each job has its advantages and its disadvantages, and the game makes it pretty, I wouldn't necessarily say easy is the right word, but it's intuitive to balance a party really well. Like, you can say, hey, I need 7 other people for this thing. We need 2 tanks, 2 healers, and 3 more DPS, and people kind of just... It's very intuitive to figure out, okay, what's going to be best for this particular fight, like what the mechanics are. Like, the one that is playing now, I would definitely want something a little bit more mobile, for example.
Yeah, each job kind of has its purpose. Like, there's roles, right? You have tank, you have DPS, and you have healer. Those are the main roles. But within those, each job kind of has its own purpose that it serves in a party. And, it's some are better for some instances, and some are, worse.
And since we're talking about roles, this is a good time to touch on it. There are 3 kinds of DPS. Right now, I am what's called Ranged Caster, or a Disciple of Magic. But the Disciple of War also includes... I keep forgetting that this is the glam that I have on. Dancer is what's called Ranged Physical, and then I've got Monk. Here it is. Which is Ranged Melee, or no, Physical Melee. So I was talking to Queen last night about like, I had them look over my list of things to touch on, and oh, hi Mac. Oh, he's not. Hi Mac, there you are.
Yes.
But I had made the comment of like
people.
the different. Oh, hi Gogo. But I had made the comment about like different types of melee, and they responded with, what about tanks and healers? And they go, yeah, well, there's only like one type of tank, one type of healer. Which, at its core, is a true statement. I know there's differences between them. But they said, that's false. And I said, what? Range healer and melee healer? Let me punch it better.
There is burst heal, and there is preventative heal, and
well, yes, but you know what I mean.
Heal.
There's not like... You're always casting from the back in an ideal situation.
That is true.
Gogo, what's your favorite job? Shot in the dark.
Oof. Okay.
Mac,
I do love me some Dancer, but I typically am a healer main in most any game that I play. I just really love support type classes. Ideally, if they had a true support class, a true support role in this game, I'd be playing that. But of the healers, my favorite is Scholar. I love Scholar. It is so good. Ugh. And aside from that, it's Dancer. So I'm pretty 50-50 on both Scholar and Dancer.
That's fair. Mac, what about you?
The Weeaboo class, Samurai.
Nice. You play a very good samurai, too.
Yeah, so that's the thing, and this is not me tooting my own horn, so to speak, but the thing I've realized is it's very hard to find a samurai main. Like, there are people who play samurai, but there aren't a lot of people who main samurai, and it's 2 things. One, it's a very combo-heavy class, and rotation, it is very easily for your damage to drop off.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Monk, too, and I'll show that off in a second.
Yeah, exactly. The second thing is, all of your moves are in Japanese. And as big a weeaboo as anyone is, if you don't have subtitles, you're probably gonna get in problems. I mean, thankfully, I do know Japanese. But that isn't what helps. What helps is just that I remember my rotation by heart.
Yeah.
But because it's such a combo-heavy class, not a lot of people, I don't want to say are good at it. I don't want to say use that term like, there's too much shit samurais or whatever. No. Not a lot of people do the damage they're supposed to as a samurai.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I think the same, well, maybe not the same, but a similar critique can be made of some of the ninja skills. Where,
Yeah.
like, they're not in a language that I'm not gonna say a lot of us speak. Like, I know there are people who play this game that play on both North American and the Japanese servers, but not being... Oh, there's suddenly a wall there. Hi. But, like, not having... Like, if you look at my hotbar, they're all called, like, Dragon Kick and Twin Snakes and Boot Shine. And they're distinct in my own, like, my first language that I more... Like, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it said exactly, but I know what they do. We're, in a new house right now, so we're decorating in the background.
I have too many verdant partitions.
Ninja is actually a class that
You?
I've
Too
met.
many verdant partitions.
Probably up close. They're,
What was that, Crystal?
I've never heard of that.
Ninja is actually a class that I've maxed and is probably my favorite melee class.
Gotcha. Tell us why.
Nice bounce.
Honestly, I like the speed of it and
Dude.
it's pretty
Mhm.
easy.
Oh,
In my
you guys are
opinion,
gonna make me cry.
Also, I like the storyline of the rogue slash ninja,
Mm-hmm.
the entities associated. Also, I really like the ninja character. I can't remember her name right now. God.
Oh, are you talking about Yugiri?
Yes.
Oh, I love Yugiri.
Where I am unintentionally wearing her outfit.
in this house, we love and respect Lady Yugiri.
You people are gonna make me
100%.
cry.
100%.
So yeah, we have a striking dummy outside. Let's go out and do some combat. That is,
No.
like, very convenient that I don't have to go anywhere to find that. Thank you.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Oh my gosh. I didn't know.
Are
Fun.
you doing okay,
fact.
Mech?
Discord mobile now has noise reduction from Chris.
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
So now I'm less obnoxious.
What were you
Theory.
saying, Mech?
No, sorry. I gotta go do a thing first, and then I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, take your time. So when we say ranged and melee, like, that may not be immediately, like, obvious what we're talking about. Melee is just like you're right up here, you're about to punch it in the face. Ranged is back, where... Is it Shaban? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Siobhan.
Yeah, is where Shaban is standing, would be ranged. Way, way back in the distance where you are more or less out of harm's way. What's up, Gogo?
Huh? That was a mistell.
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's talk... Oh, perfect. Let me see my list again. Like I said, I took notes. I looked some stuff up last night. Stuff like HP and MP is universal in video games for the most part. Like, if you don't know what HP and MP are, hit points and magic points. I don't use magic points as this job, but they're a thing. This is not 10,000 magic points. It is 100.00%. So as you can see, everybody has 100% magic right now. And then this game... What's up, Mech?
Hang on. I'll just be 2 seconds. You can continue. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this game uses what's called a cooldown system to kind of help pace the fighting. So I can't just, like, go in and punch, rapid fire. I wish I could, but I can't. There are two types of cooldowns, and, like, please correct me if I've gotten any of this wrong. I couldn't find the, like, dictionary definitions I was looking for. Global cooldowns are the ones that, like, they all share the same recast timer. They're all the same thing.
Yes.
And while one is on cooldown, they're all on cooldown, means you can't use them. Your non-global cooldowns are the ones that have their own timers. And they're typically a lot longer. So let's show it off. So start with Dragon Kick. And see how the timer at the bottom refreshes itself. And then it starts out at what, like 2.5 some seconds?
Yeah, 2.
Oh, it helps if I... I'll explain what I just did in a second. But if you're, for some reason, keeping track at home with a stopwatch, you'll notice that my attacks are getting faster, and that's because I'm getting what are called buffs, my stacks of Greased Lightning here. And most jobs have something that will augment your global cooldown timer to some degree or another. Whereas if I were to use, like, say, Riddle of Earth, Riddle of Fire, they have 60 and 90 seconds, respectively. And then the advantages or the buffs that they give me only last for so long. Thank you, Gogo. Yes, Greased Lightning, a reference to Yuffie's Limit Break in Final Fantasy VII, which is, of course, a reference to the John Travolta film Greased Lightning. Grease, thank you. Grease. Oh
There is a song in it called
Greased Lightning.
Which is a reference to the colloquial term about being super fast, just as fast as Greased Lightning.
Yep.
Which I never got. I was like, won't that just burn?
So yeah, I'm gonna
I
run
was a fun kid.
far enough that the dummy leaves me alone so I can swap jobs. Oh, it didn't do the thing. Stop attacking it. There we go. And I'll show off Dancer. There we go. Biker glam. So I do the most benefit back here because you can see I have a lot fewer hit points as a dancer than I do as a monk. Like in theory I would. I can hit it from all the way back here, but you see I have that same cooldown. This is all for the benefit of at least one friend that I'm hoping will join us once that that sick free trial starts in 5.3. Y'all have anything you want to add so far, or how am I doing?
Yeah, you're doing fine. So right now you're on a ranged physical DPS. Another attribute of ranged physical that sets them apart from other jobs is that the 3 ranged physical jobs, Bard, Dancer, and Machinist, also have support capabilities more so than the other jobs. They're more about buffing the allies than the rest. Machinist less so than the
Yeah,
other
so
two, but
CI Shield Samba damage taken is reduced. Let me see.
Dancer also has the ability to partner up with people.
And increase their attack output.
Plus, like if I were to pop Shield Samba, then you'll see that Mawa's also mirrored the action, being my dance partner. And if we're on two opposite ends of a battlefield, that can maybe not make or break a fight, but can definitely push it one direction or another.
For sure. And Bard has its songs to help the party along, and Machinist has like 1 defensive ability, but you know, it's something.
You see, with Monk, I had Greased Lightning. Here I've got Standard Finish and Technical Finish, which are abilities that I get, you know, as you level the dancer up, as you level the job up. Let me swap to...
Another big thing to note about these range and melee is that they have the ability to move while they're casting because their weapon skills trigger instantly. So you don't have to wait for them. They'll go off at the start of when you use it, whereas you'll see with casters is that it'll go off at the end of when you use it, which means that they don't get to move as much.
For example.
Which is why Black Mage can be very frustrating.
And I have the benefit playing Red Mage of the ability called Dual Cast, which is exactly what it says. I can cast twice in the same instant.
And your second cast is immediate as well, so you can move around with it.
Shut that off.
So of the 3 casters, it is the most mobile, and it's interesting Red Mage because it likes to bounce between being melee and being caster. So a little bit unique in that
Yep,
way.
and I can rush in.
Red Mage has always been
Pull this sick
Oh.
backflip.
largely has been considered a jack of all trades, master of none.
Mhm.
But in other titles of the game of the series, they did a really good job of like kind of changing that to where instead of it being considered a jack of all trades, master of none, being a master of its own thing, which
Mhm.
is dual casting and maximizing like output of spells.
And I'll swap back to show off the healing capabilities in just a second, because I think that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, here's my baby, my glass cannon, my black mage. I wish we could show... I wish, like, we could use DPS meters that, like, weren't against terms of service, so I could show just how much I'm pumping out every second worth of damage. Oh, I'm out of empty.
Just you should know that it's a lot. Black Mage
Yeah.
does a lot of damage, but Black Mage can also easily take a lot of damage.
Yeah, I have almost 10,000 less hit points as a black mage than I do as, like, even a red mage. I know there's a lot going on the screen right now. Let me zoom out, get out of some of that. And again, my augmenting ability is my elemental gauge and my polyglot gauge. Which, once that does its thing again, just a second. As soon as it hits 30 seconds of having this Enochian buff, I don't know where it is, with my little gold thing lit up here, I get a free cast of either Foul or Xenoglossy, which are my two bigger, like, they're like finishing moves, if you will. But I can only cast them once every 30 seconds.
Limit break.
Oh yeah, we are building up a limit break, aren't we? Nice. Let's see if we can get up to a bar's worth.
One of the things that makes Black Mage so glass cannony is that, like a cannon, it doesn't typically move,
Yeah.
and that's really why it's you feel like glass cannon is because oftentimes you have to make an interesting decision, whereas you could dodge and avoid taking damage, or stay in place and keep uptime, which is continue to do damage. Black Mage being probably the highest DPS in the game if left, alone. Oftentimes Black Mage will just eat the hit, risk dying to just keep the damage going, which is funny because there's a lot of memes about it. Like, you can see the circles right now, these things called ley lines. They boost the speed at which they cast. That's, of course, a damage per second increase. So they'll want to stay in it, and risk dying. And so they'll shout like healers adjust, heal me, keep me alive so I can keep pumping out the damage.
Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Nope, I'm not getting out of these ley lines.
Exactly. It's a bit of a meme right now, but it happens for a reason.
If you gear yourself correctly, like if you wear the right gear with the right augmentations, you can usually eat one. And hope that your healer doesn't, just leave you to die next time.
And Black Mage does have a couple of tools to help out as well. They have a damage reduction. They also have a movement ability to help dodge more quickly,
You also
not
have a
global.
straight up barrier that you can put on yourself.
Is there?
Yeah, Mana Ward or Mana Wall.
Mana Ward a barrier?
Oh, I must not have that on a hotbar. It shows
It's
you
a
how
top-
often I
it's a-
use it.
And Mana Ward has shown up throughout the series.
Yeah, and a lot of these, ability names should be familiar to people who played fantasy RPGs in the past. My main scenario thing is over my limit break gauge. Are we close?
Mine is as well.
Mine is also.
Almost.
Yeah, you're almost there.
Okay.
Let's everyone pop a sprint.
Oh, yeah.
We're popping a sprint.
I'm sorry, can you what?
On a
Oh,
striking dummy.
are we gonna break this thing?
Nah.
No, of course not.
That would be hilarious. You have to like buy a new one.
And for the
There you
folks
go.
watching the
That'd be
stream at home, you'll notice that some of my abilities have the little dotted lines around it. That means they're available for use right now. Or in the case of Fire 3, it means I've got Fire Starter, which is an instant cast. So yeah, typically if it's lit up, not a bad idea to use it.
Limit break is awesome.
Right. Do you want to show off Limit Break?
I do. So Limit
you
Break
have
is your finisher. And you have levels 1, 2, and 3.
Unfortunately, we can only get level 1 here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in so I can change into a Squalor.
Okay. So yeah, that's what combat looks like. Let me turn on my chat overlay to make sure I'm not missing like questions or anything. I'm gonna also copy the link to this somewhere. Keep forgetting. Okay. Let me get out of combat range. You can't change jobs while you have aggro. Or, you know, the aggressive target is on you right now. Let me swap back to red mage. Does one of you have a blue mage that can self-destruct?
Yes.
Would you mind?
Does
What did I
Mac
wanna
also have it?
Mech is indisposed right now.
Oh.
Just
Well,
real brief.
I
They'll get
guess
you back
we-
up.
I'll stop being a Squalor.
You can go back to being Scholar after this. I just want to show off Verraise. And I think at that point will be a good opportunity to jump into healing and what all that entails.
I have blue, but I don't have a weapon.
Oh.
I always have my blue mage weapon on me.
Okay,
Okay.
so Gogo's going to self-destruct for us, and it's very tragic.
Hold on.
We have to build up the suspense for it.
Oh, I don't have it on?
Do
I'm
they use a
stupid.
cane for a weapon?
Yeah.
Ah, all that drama for nothing.
That's so gay.
Can you not cast it here?
No, I just didn't have it on.
What year is it? 2003?
Wait. I have Final Stain. You want to use that instead?
Just something that I can get somebody dead.
Final Sting does that.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so Gogo took lethal damage. It's very tragic. What is that debuff?
The debuff that has popped
Okay.
up on me is called Brush with Death. It means I can't use another one of those actions for 9 minutes.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, I appreciate you using your timer for me.
It's okay.
So I'm actually gonna swap to that hotbar.
It was just a way for them. I'm pretty sure that they implemented it to prevent spamming of things like self-destruct.
That's
kill
fair.
Something.
So this is actually a macro icon, and what this does is it sends into the party chat that I'm gonna get a dual cast to make it quicker. And then it'll send to the party chat that I am raising Gogo Dancer. And then he can accept the resurrection, or he can lay there. And he comes right to me. Yay, thank you, Gogo.
Thank you.
Has everyone done their showcasing thingy yet?
Yeah, we just showed off Final Sting and Verraise. Oh, I like that glam bag.
Look at
Oh,
you.
thanks.
Oh, no, you're good.
That was my paladin glam.
I like it. Very fancy.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, show us what you like about Samurai.
Okay, it's gonna be very hard to like call out what things are.
Ah, that's
But-
alright.
The basic thing is, so in Samurai, your goal is to generate these things called Sen, which have you unlocked Samurai Crow?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you can switch over it, and on stream, the three little.
Oh god,
pills.
hang on. Oh, not all my gear was found. Hold please.
Sure, no problem.
There we go. I mean, that's enough for now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Do you see the three hilts, or have you not unlocked Sen yet? Oh, I think
They
you
got
start
them.
with them.
They have them,
Yeah. Yeah. So on your, oh hey. Molly.
what's the ability called?
No, they're just talking about the gauge.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
No, I've got it. I just haven't adjusted
Okay.
where it is.
Okay. So you have three. Do you have the sword yet?
No,
There should
not
be a-
yet. My samurai
Okay.
is only level 50.
Okay, sure. Okay, well, at base level, you only need to worry about generating and burning Sen. So when you generate Sen, you get a little light up on one of the scabbards. You can go do it on the dummy and showcase it on stream.
I don't know if I'll be able to do it on...
You should have Hakaze and Yukikaze. That is enough to generate one Sen, I think.
Ah, there we go.
Right. Right. Yes. Okay. So you see how one scabbard lit up?
It didn't.
Oh, they're level 50 hitting a level 80 dummy. They'll miss a lot.
I'm so sorry. I haven't really done
Fine.
anything with this job.
It's fine. But I think most people would know. You
Yeah,
hit.
if I can hit Hakaze, which is this one, and then hit Yukikaze, which is this one of these will light up, and then I can use, what is it, Meikyo Shisui? Or is that a different one?
No,
I think
you
that's
can
what it
use
is.
Higan Bana.
I
Well,
don't have
your
it on
your EI Jutsu. Your EI Jutsu is a different move depending on which and how much Sen you burn.
Right, okay. I see it now.
Yes.
Come on. This is a great way to explain, like, the difference between... Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make that combo.
It's fine. I'll demonstrate the entire samurai combo.
Okay, give me
In fact,
just a
okay.
second. Gotta chicken out real quick. There we go.
My hex computation.
I'm so sorry, Gogo. Okay,
Oh,
yeah, they
whatever.
saw what the bar looks like, or the icons look like.
So, as a samurai, your job is generating and burning Sen. So, you do a combo, one of the Sen lights up, and then you burn it with what's called an EI Jutsu, which changes depending on which and how much Sen you have. If you have one Sen, it's Heigan Bana. If you have two, I forget what it is. And if you have three, it's Midare Setsugeka. I know a lot of people would be like, what? Are you trying to curse at me? No, that is genuine Japanese. So at level 50, your job is DOT and then burst damage. So your job is DOT. You generate Sen to do Heigan Bana, which is typically the quickest Sen is Hakaze and Yukikaze, which will give you the top one, the top scabbard, which is the first Sen. You just do that, you immediately get Heigan Bana, and then you do the entire combo rotation. You get all three, and you get Midare Setsugeka.
Real quick, Mech. Explain what DOT means for the people watching at home.
Damage over time.
And then there's also HOT, which is heal over time, but I don't hear that used terribly often.
Yeah.
But that's a thing.
Yes, but that's at level 50. At level 80, you get another gauge, which is your Kenki gauge. And that is where you do your largest amount of damage. I think you unlock that at level 67, right? So at level 80, you're focused on generating both Sen and Kenki. And then at level 80, there's a third mechanic introduced called meditation.
Sure.
So at level 80, you're focused on generating 3 different sources of power: Sen, Kenki, and meditation. Again, not everyone knows how to play this class, and this is why.
Yeah, that's pretty involved. Wow, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So there is your opener, which is, the whole burst damage cycle. And then there is your normal rotation, and that's where Meikyo Shisui comes in. After you do the whole burst damage opener, you then do Meikyo Shisui to do a second rotation, and then by that time your cooldowns are done, so you immediately start doing the same thing for the original opener to deal another big swath of damage.
Okay. And then for anybody watching that is unaware, the rotation is the rotation of weapon skills that you use. So like for Red Mage right now, I would rotate between Jolt 2 ver Arrow, Jolt 2 ver Thunder, ver Stone, ver Fire as they come up until my gauge hits 80, at which point I would swap to Physical, and I go through Riposte, whatever the Z one is, I cannot pronounce it, and then Redoublement is my rotation, and as long as I have a certain amount of mana in my gauge here, I get extra damage done because they are enchanted Riposte, for example. And each job will have a rotation to some degree or another. Excuse me.
Okay.
And
So I think I talked enough. Oh, okay.
no. I was just gonna finish up with you don't get all of these at once. You don't have to just like jump in and immediately know the rotation. That's unreasonable, and Square Enix does not do that to you. YouTube is a really good resource. Is it Basically Job? Is that what the series is called? Like Basically Samurai, Basically Red Mage?
Those are Larry's watch things, which I guess they're fine. That's okay, but he tends to take it in a more comedic route. If you truly do want to learn your class, especially DPS classes, which are heavy on the mechanics, I recommend the Balance Discord. There's also Work the Game. Work the Game has lovely videos on each class, and they even do live streams and a lot of data releases and information releases. There's a bunch of YouTubers that do class videos too. Malice, who is that person you were telling me about? I think they believe with a D.
Maoist?
I'm sorry?
We were asking him a YouTube channel, right, Mech? That you like for tutorials?
Oh, I find Desperious on YouTube is a great source
That's
if you're
the one.
just like, if you just want to like get the information quickly. Sure, their videos like have like cute little intros they do, and like that's one of their things. But the information they give you is very just like well presented and simple.
That was
For
the
anyone
one
that just
you
wants to
sent
learn.
me for Red Mage, wasn't it?
Right, so they have two
Yeah.
versions of each video for their job, and they're constantly updating their videos as well.
Mhm.
There's like the full job video, it's the full explanation for the job, what the mechanics are, how it works, its pros, cons, what stats you want, which material melding. Like they go pretty in depth. But there's also a 5-minute version where it's like, what do you want about the job, real quick? Here you go. This is what your rotation looks like. This is what you want to do. Period.
Yeah, so these are all great resources, and all of it to say that YouTube is a really good resource for springboarding into these jobs, I guess. Like, sitting down with a striking dummy like this, or Hall of the Novice in any of the... Is it the 3 main city-states that have it? Or is
yeah,
it just the
you can
starting
just
one?
go to the Hall of the Novice too. At level 15, you'll get access to it,
Yeah.
and you can just start doing those, and it gets you like a basic idea of what each role's
Yeah.
purpose is.
It gets you the practice too, which is nice. So you're not just like rushing into stuff and going, I've never touched this in my life. I don't know how to do it. All but maybe like a fourth of the jobs at this point too, you start out at level 1, regardless of what you like took the job as. So like if I were to go into Ul'dah right now and pick up Gladiator, which, you know, I think I've already got it, but I would pick it up at level 1. I wouldn't have all of the level 80 skills because I wouldn't know what to do with them, and that's not really conducive to an intuitive method of play. I do apologize. They're really, really good about easing you into like what you need to know, what you need to learn about these jobs as you get to them. Like, they don't just throw you in unprepared. They do a little bit, but not like... Here you have all of these skills, read up on them as you wait for the rest of the dungeon to load. Good luck.
Yeah, even the jobs you unlock at higher levels, like you unlock Samurai at level 50, but you unlock Samurai at level 50 after you've gotten a job to that point already, like for instance a monk or something. So you kind of get like the general mechanics of the game itself, so that when you're faced with the blinking box that's glowing next, you know what to do. You just like, I'm going to smash that button. So that's what I did on monk. I'm going to do it here, and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've talked a lot, but I haven't shown anything.
Oh, yeah, we want to
So,
see.
I'm gonna showcase my rotation now.
In the way, go. There we go. It's very flashy.
Yes, it is.
And if you watched really closely, you could see a casting bar both up here and underneath his name in our party list. When you did your... Let me know when you do it again and you can tell me what it's called. I missed it.
Hang on, I'm not sure which
It was,
ability it is.
I'll know it when I see it.
Was it Midari Setsugeko?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, but you can
Yeah,
see
it
it has a very short casting time. Like, he has to stand still for just a second and let it do its thing.
Yeah. So at level 76, this is my favorite ability, by the way. At level 76, you get an ability called Tsubame Gaishi, which is whatever weapon skill you did last, it does it again. Without needing any payment or any sort of resource to burn. It just does it again immediately. So like at level 50, Midari Setsugeka is like your highest damage dealing move. So at level 76, when you do Midari Setsugeka and you use Tsubame Gaishi, you can do it immediately. You can do another one immediately without having to build Sen, without having to burn MP, without having to do anything. Tsubame Gaishi just immediately triggers the second one.
Nice.
And that in turn fills your meditation gauge, which gives you your new highest damage dealing move, Shoha. Which is that sort of flurry of slashes that I did. I think I can do another one real quick. Hang on.
Was that the one that had the moon in the background real briefly?
I think that one is Yukikaze.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can achieve another Shoha. I only need one more stack of meditation to achieve it, so
Okay.
I think after I do Tsubame Gaishi, it'll trigger.
Show
Yeah.
off limit break while you're at it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
So that's melee limb break. So each of the different types of jobs also have different kinds of limb breaks. So you saw Black Mage's Castriel be there. That was melee.
It's a big circle AoE, which is area of effect. Ranged, like Dancer or Machinist, is going to be a long line AoE. It's just going to punch straight through whatever's in front of it. And then melee, like what Mech did, is one single target. And you typically want melee to hit the boss with a limb break if it's just one. But to kind of demonstrate, this is what I mean by rotation. See, as I go through those, and then I have Verholy Verflare, and then Scorch, and then I restart.
Well, you showed off a bit of Monk and a bit of Samurai. Shaban, you want to show off some Ninja?
Oh, yeah.
Where are they gone?
They're right there.
Oh,
They were good. They're a good ninja.
yeah, they're.
My adventures popped.
You should have just gone with me saying you're a good
Let me
ninja.
get rid of
Hidden.
aggro real quick. There we go.
They don't. There's no ninja here.
They're gone. Oh no.
Also, of course, the best part of ninja.
As you can see, they are hidden.
How do you unhide?
As you can see,
Well, there's the icon next to their name.
it's John's.
So, ninja has what's known as really bad at explaining things.
That's okay.
You have 3 different mudras, which are Chi, Jin, and Ten, and you can combine them to create different attacks. So there's I've been doing so long. The one I just did allows for a damage boost, and you almost always want to have it popped. There's a distance attack, which is throwing giant shuriken.
Can you lean just a little bit closer to your microphone, if at all possible?
Sorry. Yeah,
Oh, no, you're good. There we go.
So, there's also an AoE, which a lot of people seem to think is an enemy attack because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
Is this an enemy AoE?
And with Ninja, it's also just a lot of rotations and making sure you have the right response.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
A lot of this game does depend on what are called procs, which I found out stands for something. It's not just a fun word. It stands for Process Random Occurrence, which it's RNG basically. You have X% chance of this next thing in the chain happening, like with Dancer, for example, is the big one. Let me swap back. So Dancer, you start out with Cascade or Windmill, but then if you look down, I can't move my mouse, but if you look down at the description in the gray box, 50% chance of granting Flourishing Cascade, which is this one, Reverse Cascade. So, like, I can only do those things if I've got the proc for it. Which I got lucky on that one.
Alright, just one more melee to go. That's Dragoon.
Oh yeah, your time to shine. Give me just a second. But Mawas, there's no cliff to backflip off of.
Oh my god, your little lantern is adorable.
I say, having done that exact same thing, like, just yesterday.
So yeah, as Crows mentioned, jumping is something that Dragoons are known for. You kind of need it to jump high in the air and slay dragons with.
Mm-hmm.
So Dragoon is a very burst sort of DPS. They do a bunch of single target damage all at once, and it's pretty flashy to look at while you do it too.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna start it off by putting this on you. It's a buff, and it can buff 2 people at the same time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So explain what a buff is. I know what a buff is. Not everybody watching does.
Yeah, a buff will increase your damage output So, or it'll give you something else in exchange, but typically it'll be increasing your damage output
It's anything
for a short amount of
that's
time.
a benefit. So like right now we have Left Eye, and we have Battle Litany, which means we have more critical hits that happen. So yeah, as you can see, Mawa's is just cranking out damage like it's going out of style all at once. And that's one of the big benefits of Dragoon, is that they can do a whole lot in one go.
That's right. And as you can see, I'm moving around. There are some things that are particular with melee jobs, is that sometimes they'll have these things called directional requirements. And so your damage will be increased if you do that correctly. So if I have a move that's like from the rear, for example, this Chaos Thrust, it gets an increase to its damage potency is what it's called. Basically the amount of damage it does. If I do it from the rear, you know, and the flank as well, which means basically the side.
And I don't know about other classes, but I know like with Ninja, there are skills that actually negate direction. So
True North is one. If I have an ability called Riddle of Earth, where if I take damage while I've got it active, it negates my needing to do like attack from any particular direction. And if you play on a controller like I do, and a well-organized hotbar will save you a lot of problems, especially as you get on to like endgame stuff, later content. So the way I've got this set up is like all of my flank abilities are one section, all of my back like hit from the back abilities are another section, my buffs, my AoEs, and then the stuff that I don't use on as regular a basis are on a secondary set of hotbars. And you can set this up no problem, like to your own liking, I should say. You know, whatever is most convenient for you. They do make it really, really easy to use a controller in this game, though, which is kind of nice. Excuse me.
Well, that's all the melee. Ulfian, welcome to the stream.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're good.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream.
Ulfian, you're a
doing?
good summoner. Would you like to show off the summoner rotation?
Sure.
Oh, I see how it is. Ow.
You got to show off Ninja.
True.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a summoner too.
True.
Even though I'm Paladin right now, I am the worst person to show off that.
Well, I think when Gold gets back, they're also a paladin, maybe.
Yeah.
I could show off Dark Knight if needed.
Yeah, we're gonna cover tanks and healers in just a second. There's a lot more to DPS as far as like what they can and can't do, what they're used for, what they're important for, than what goes into tanking and to a degree healing. Like they're all very important, they all play a role. But DPS just there's so many facets to it that I knew this was gonna take up the majority of our combat overview. Which, I don't know how many of you here in chat are the ones with my viewers, but to the people who aren't, welcome to the stream. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. We're going to take a brief break to point out that we're still raising money for Extra Life to benefit Children's Miracle Network. Click the blue and white controller button above the chat box. If you're in the Twitch app, it shouldn't take you out of the Twitch app, which is kind of nice. I found that out. If you see the little blue box on the top of your screen, it'll show you where we're at, how many days until game day, I think it's 98, and if you donate while we're streaming, it'll send an alert to me that will scare the pants off me, so if you want to laugh at my expense, that's a great way to do it. But yeah, let's see Summoner.
Alright.
So, first
Alright.
off, who's your buddy?
The Ifrit. So Summoner's known as the pet DPS. So you actually have different pets and stuff, and they can help you with different things. So the Ifrit Edgy is mostly your single target DPS pet that helps along with that. As you can see, fire. The next one that you can have is also your Titan Edgy, which does a lot more defensive stuff. So they can put shields on you, and also, if I remember correctly, shield on you and does some damage as well. And then you also have your AoE DPS pet, which is Garuda Edgy, which does a lot more. So is Wind, so it does a lot more cyclones or area of effect. So area effects, I don't know if you guys have covered that already. Which
Yeah,
means, like,
we've touched on them. Just to clarify too, to my knowledge, there's no such thing as an elemental advantage in this game.
no.
No.
Not
Yeah, I
don't-
outside
doesn't
Eureka.
Okay,
doesn't
well,
matter.
Eureka's its own thing. Eureka is its own cluster that we'll get into on another day.
They're actually, it used to be, and they took it out of the game.
Oh, I gotcha. That does make sense, because if you're only going to give Black Mage 3 of them, you can't really have advantages that we can't access. That's not hardly fair.
Yeah.
So in this game, you can literally fight fire with fire and have it be effective.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So normally you would have Garuda when if you're doing like an instance or a dungeon. Usually you'd use it for the mob, so you can actually do as much damage as possible to not just one target,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really good for that.
Mobs meaning monsters
sorry.
that... Oh, no, you're good. I have, like, a list of things that I'm covering. But mobs being, like, the extra monsters that are not the boss monsters.
Yeah.
Those are ads, actually.
Oh, okay, well. Mobs are monsters, then.
Yeah, groups of monsters.
Yeah. It's been a long week. It's been a very
worry.
long week. But yeah, ads are when you're fighting a boss. Like, let's say you're fighting a boss and suddenly it calls up its minions. The minions are the ads or additional targets.
Yeah.
So when we say
Titan.
grab the ads, it means don't worry about the big guy, grab his buddies over there because they're about to be a pain.
And then with Titan Energy, you usually I like using him if I'm doing solo stuff or like your solo leveling,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you're fighting some ads that are difficult by yourself as DPS, because technically most of the time as the DPS you don't actually have a whole lot of self heals to heal yourself. So I like using him so you can put a shield on yourself. That'll help stop going dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ifrit is normally I like to use the best for bosses, especially if it's a single target boss. He does come with some attacks that are AoE, just in case if you do have moments where ads do come up, but you still want to make sure you're doing well,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to constantly change between them, because sometimes I can be confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is single. It is changing them up is insta cast, but sometimes you might be in the middle of something you can't do it. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that. So on to actually DPSing and stuff. So when it comes to summoner, there's main thing is you're trying to build up to your bigger pets that you can summon on a cooldown, but you have to do specific things so you can do it. So your main one that you always can summon is the 3 that I first said. So Ifrit, Garuda, or Titan. So what you usually do is you do your dots. So your miasma stuff, and as soon as you do it, your lovely pet should usually start attacking whatever you've attacked. And then what you can do is what you call your Dread Worm stance. So that pops up. You can start just instant casting stuff if you'd like. And you want to use that within the 10 seconds that you have, and then do Death Flare, because then you can then summon this guy, Bahamut. He does big damage. You can do some big damage as well.
Which, if you can see those little numbers there, that's the individual amount of... Each individual attack is doing that much damage every time it hits.
Yeah. And mostly, the main deal with summoner, to be a good summoner, is trying to do as many insta-casts, get them off. Because the less time you're having to cast something, better, because then you're just constant. Especially when you can also do, after you summon Bahamut, you're done, you can then summon your Phoenix.
Ooh.
This big boy does big fire damage.
Ooh,
he's
yeah.
He's your big one that you do at the end, that you build up. So you have 2 main attacks that you try to do as well.
Oh, I just noticed we get a buff from Phoenix, too.
Yep, so you do get a buff that heals people. It's like your AoE heal just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back to doing your beginning again. So you just kind of go through a rotation.
Mhm.
Normal would.
And I know that this is a lot to take in for...
Summoner, yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to each job, and I know this is a lot to take in for anybody who's watching that might not have ever played this game before. We got a little bit more in depth than I meant to. I apologize.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's me too. We all get excited showing off these characters that we worked so hard to get to these. Like, you can't just jump to level 80. You can buy a level skip up to 70 for some of them, but most of these we leveled from level 1, and like we've worked really hard to learn them well and like learn how to play them properly and learn how best to use the individual advantages that they've got. So I don't mind that we got a little bit more in depth, because I can summarize everything later at the end.
So yeah, the main thing with Summoner is you're just trying to build up the correct rotation so you can summon your big boys.
Mm-hmm.
Your big boys they're called the cooldown summon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Phoenix again. Big
Nice.
boy. I love it when I get to cast him off.
Mm-hmm. And then Summoner can also heal and raise, right?
Yes, so we can heal. The only healer we have is called Physic, other than the Enkindle Phoenix, which is like our AoE heal buff that happens when we summon them.
Yeah. So kind of like I have Vercure, you have Physic, and then we both have a Resurrection spell, but then that's about it. Because we're not meant to be the bulk of the healing.
No. And
It's
because
kind of a joke too.
Summoner does have quite a bit of insta-casts, usually I like to save my Swift cast just in case if I need to res someone up.
Yeah, me too. Swift cast just makes it an instant cast, so like...
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like. How long have we been going? Over an hour. That's a good way to segue into healing, I think. Let me drop aggro real quick.
Oh, no one wants to see Machinist.
Oh yeah, we should show off Machinist.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, pardon me, thank you, Go. Before I even showcase Machinist, get angry about this gun. Now, I love this gun. I love this gun a lot. But here's the thing about it. So, this game is very much a fantasy game. I mean, it has guns, but it's a fantasy game. And because of that, most of the guns are very fantasy-esque. So you don't get a lot of guns that look like real guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this one. The problem is, you cannot get a gun like this anymore. This was from the Garo event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you cannot get a gun like this anymore, right? So this is a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem, right? Back when the Garo event was a thing, there were two versions of this gun. The finished version, which you could die and you could do all sorts of things, and then this version, which is just this, as it is, a purple paintball gun. I mean, that's what this gun's design is based off of. I think it's the MX something, but it's a paintball gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed off an in real life paintball gun.
That's kind of awesome, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I would have liked it. I could dye it black, but unfortunately, back when the event was around, I didn't realize there were two versions of this gun,
I gotcha.
and I got the undyeable version.
That sucks.
But anyway,
Time to mod it.
About Machinist. So I don't want to insult any Machinist mains because I mean, for a while I myself was a Machinist main, but Machinist is pretty much a brain dead class. Now, I'm not insulting anyone when I say that it's a brain dead class. It's just that the rotation is so easy and so impossible to mess up. It is not as mechanic heavy as Samurai or Dragoon or Summoner or even Red Mage. Which Red Mage is pretty easy to mess up. I have to say you're a good Red Mage, Crow.
Thank you. I have screwed up my melee rotation on it more times than I care to count, and again, it is very possible to displacement yourself directly off a cliff, which again, I've done that more times than I care to admit.
A good Red Mage can match DPS with a Samurai, but it is really hard to be a good Red Mage.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, a good machinist struggles to keep up with a Bard, which, I mean, Bard DPS isn't bad, but, I mean, it's a lot of work to do high DPS. Well, sorry, not high. Raid DPS. And when I say raid DPS, it's a lot of burst damage in a short amount of time. The problem with Machinist is its damage stagnates for a long time. Because whereas Samurai and Red Mage have these little moves that do DOT damage and allow you to burn a lot of extra damage, Machinist does not have that. And so for a long time, you're just doing the basic tree button, split shot, slug shot, clean shot, until you can get a hypercharge to then deal out a bunch of burst damage with Heat Blast.
Gotcha.
So you can do you can do a little bit of things to sort of pinch out a little bit more damage here and there, but
So at this point, like barring something major, either in upcoming patches or upcoming expansions, it's just for the glams. In your opinion,
you're literally just here to be like gun. That's it. That's it. Why do you play Machinist? Gun. That's the entire reason. Anyone else tells you, oh, I like it for the DPS. Oh, it's such an inventive class. No, gun. That's it. That's the extent of why you would play Machinist. I got a gun. I get to shoot things. America. But anyway,
you don't even live here.
I'm gonna do my best to see if I can achieve hypercharge. Though that usually requires like a lot of rotation, so I'm gonna bear with me.
Do your best. We'll see what we get.
Just press the hypercharge button.
Yeah, but I need to achieve it first by getting heat.
I mean, at least it looks cool. The effects are cool.
Yeah, it's very flashy. It's a very flashy class.
What are your thoughts on the turrets?
Those, again, all of those need hypercharge too.
Oh, I gotcha.
There we go.
I'm back, everyone.
Hey, Gogo.
Mac. Welcome
Hi.
back, Gogo.
We're listening to Mech air his grievances about the machinist job.
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. It just, you only use that after you burn the... Listen, you're gonna encourage me to have bad machinist habits. You only use that after you've burnt the first hypercharge. Otherwise, you fuck up your rotation.
It's part of the opener, says Mollis. That's amazing.
So, like, as you can see, there are varying opinions on what jobs are good, what jobs people like. Like, there are ways to kind of shore up where, like, some jobs might have some shortcomings in certain situations. Like, it's like Red Mage, for example. Low hit points, but I have the ability to heal myself and resurrect other party members.
Yeah.
Can you tell I don't play machinists often anymore?
Scholar, my heals aren't as high as potency as, say, White Mage, but they do give you a shield to prevent you taking additional damage.
Also, you have a little buddy who helps you with healing.
You do.
Also, I do get to have a little precious buddy. Mine is Eos. I don't
Where are you?
use Celine on Go-Go. But Ariana uses Celine exclusively.
And I forget, you
Both
turn
teams.
become a giant mech at level 80. I forgot about that.
That scared the hell out of me the first time I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, what else is attacking us now?
I do love the acrobatics.
Mm-hmm. Robo waifu. So yeah, that's what Machinist looks like. Does anybody have any closing thoughts on the damage dealing jobs, the DPS jobs?
Are there any other ones that we haven't really showcased?
You,
Just
I-
Bard.
I,
we-
I would say
I don't have
people
Bard
who
up
have
to 80.
Have we properly showcased Blue Mage?
Blue Mage is kind of its own thing though, but
That's true.
Blue
It's
Mage
a,
is
it's
gonna be
a
the
separate
last
kind of thing.
DPS I pick up.
But it's not like a typical DPS. It can act as DPS, tank, or healer by usage of Ethereal Mimicry. So I target a Marlis right now, and I use Ethereal Mimicry, and now my stats as a healer have been buffed, and the damage dealing stats have been decreased. Similarly,
cool.
if I target you, Steelpan, how is it pronounced? Steelpan?
Shaban.
Shaban?
Yeah.
Shaban. Okay, I
Shaban.
want to make sure I pronounce it right. If I target you, Shaban, and I use it, now my stats as a tank have been boosted, so like my vitality has been upped. DPS has been put down. My piety isn't where it was either. And then if I target Crow and use Ethereal Mimicry on them, now my DPS stats have been improved further than where they start.
Blue Mage is what
Which
it's
is
called a limited job, meaning it can only go into certain things. The way you level up and like learn weapon skills as a Blue Mage is unique to the job too. And I think we'll focus on that one more thoroughly in another stream.
That's fair.
Just we have a lot to cover, and that's a whole episode on its own.
That is fair. I'm gonna go back
there's
to being.
Yeah, let's talk healers since we have one of each out.
Yeah. Who wants to go first? Cough, cuffle, the young cough, cough.
you to go
Aw,
first.
y'all are so cute.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Hello.
the three of us are so cute all together.
Actually, I think Ulfin should go last, so
Okay. So
I'll
who
go
should go first?
I'll go first.
As you say, I'm nominating
So-
Mawas if we can't decide.
Yeah. So I'm White Mage. White Mage is the classical Final Fantasy healer. And it's all about big raw healing abilities. So we have skills like just the flat cure and stuff like that. But on top of that, you also have the gimmick of regen skills or healing over time, those HOTS we mentioned earlier. And so we can do stuff like regen, which will give you a little bit of health over time, and you're good there. We can even increase our healing output with things like Temperance, which gives us these beautiful wings.
Oh, they're so pretty.
We can do some nice area healing as well. The cool thing is White Mage has a lot of off-global healing as well. So like I can just be healing and then just all of a sudden just do like a quick thing as well on top of it. We have this mechanic. I'm not too sure how this works. I kind of just do it like out of muscle memory more than anything. But you generate these lilies over time, and you can use them for other abilities that have like quick healing and AoE healing and even damage. Speaking of damage, White Mage has some really cool damage abilities. My favorite being this, Holy, which not only is it cool, bright, and very powerful, but also has a stunning ability. It's pretty useful. And yeah, that's roughly how White Mage is. White Mage is all about raw healing and healing over time.
They have the highest, I believe they have the highest just solid healing output of the 3 healer jobs. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Highest raw healing, and also has the highest DPS for whatever reason of the 3 healing jobs. Which people must be wondering, like, why does a healer DPS? If you're a healer, you're gonna have to DPS. Every job
Yeah,
has DPS
we
skills.
talked about the Hall of the Novice
off your-
earlier, and they don't really cover that in that area. But if you're not healing and you're not doing damage, then what are you doing?
Exactly.
It really does come into play in like later stuff in the game, like especially if you get into like the big 24-man raids, the savage content. You really have to learn how to balance between DPS and keeping everybody alive. I say this like I have any idea what I'm talking about. I don't normally heal.
But you're wrong. You're not wrong. That is exactly what you should do. So part of being a healer is, of course, healing people. Like, you don't want them taking damage. Not if it's too much damage. Like, there's a natural regen that people have once you're out of combat, and then there's also the ability. Some actually, I think all DPS have the ability to heal themselves with second wind.
No, casters don't.
Okay, it's just so it's all physical DPS.
melee.
Yeah, physical
All
DPS
physical.
can.
Oh yeah,
all
bards
physical.
and stuff do, yeah.
But like another big important part is sometimes you need to help kill something so they don't take damage.
Yep.
And when you're doing some raids, especially raids and some high-end content, the healer DPS is necessary to meet a DPS check. So that way the whole party doesn't wipe.
DPS check
It's
meaning
extremely important.
you have to do X number of points of damage in Y span of time. Like usually there's a gauge that you have to defeat whatever it is before the gauge is full. You have to defeat these ads that we talked about in a certain amount of time. Notification, just 1 second. Oh, that's not okay. Yeah, DPS check just means you have to do X points of damage in Y amount of time to fulfill Z requirement. And that requirement can change depending on what you're in, but typically it means you have to defeat things before the big boss gets finished charging up. Otherwise you die, and it's not a good time. Some of them have really fun death animations, though, like the last boss in the Copied Factory. If you don't meet the DPS check, you get hit by a whole just buttload of missiles. And it is kind of funny watching people who've never run it before being like, what is that?
Right. Other jobs to healers also include removing status ailments and effects using the skill Esuna, and then also bringing players that are dead back to life to, keep them in the fight.
Which, as, Red Mage kind of balances between damage and healing, I can also do, I can't do it here, but you saw me raise Goko earlier when he self-destructed, and I can help out with that as necessary. I think I pay more mana to do it, though.
But yeah, White Mage is pretty simple, easy to do. For something more complex and cool, it's your turn.
Oh, rescue?
Yeah.
Did you notice how I dodged somehow?
Yeah, it's because we're not really in combat.
Oh.
It was like rescue dodge, and I was like, that's funny. Okay, so hello, I am showcasing Scholar. Scholar is nifty because you have a basic healing ability such called Physic. But if you were paying attention to some of the numbers, ooh, that was a crit. But if you're paying attention to the numbers from before, these aren't nearly as high as White Mage. Mouse, could you use like an analogous Cure 1 just to show that off?
Yeah.
So 17,773, and mine is okay, but I got a 16 there. See, so mine are still they're close but lower
Compared
Your
to
gear
mine.
is better than mine.
Well, that was
see, my
crit,
physics,
doesn't
my
count. Yeah, see, mine are
so
even
physics
weaker.
has a cure potency of 400, but I do get a special thing called Abloquium, which is a single target spell ability or casting ability, and I heal and apply this status effect called Galvanize. What that does is that applies for 30 seconds a shield that is, I believe, let's see, what is it? It says, oh yeah, I give a shield that is 125% of the amount of HP I restored. So I heal, and then that same amount plus a quarter of it is applied as a shield. But even more interestingly is if I critical when I'm doing that, not only do I apply Galvanize, but I also apply Catalyze, which is a second shield of the same amount on top of it. Which is
just
super
to point
nice.
out real quick, somebody pointed this out to me recently. I had never noticed this. If it's a good thing to have on you, the little pentagram that the status symbol is points up. If it's a bad thing, it's pointing down. So if you're thinking about learning how to heal, that's what you want to look for, is if somebody has a down arrow on them, see if you can Asuna it off.
Big
Which,
time.
if you have played other Final Fantasy games, a lot of these abilities are going to sound familiar too. But yeah, that's the big benefit of Scholar is the shields and heals is what they're called. But also, you should introduce your buddy.
Oh yes, also over here I have Eos. That's the fairy that I choose to use on this character. She is a cute little fairy who is essentially made of my ether if you pay attention to Scholar lore. And she helps out with my healing, which is really, really necessary.
That
diminish the strength of my heals between my Adloquium, which isn't as strong as a white mage's like single target heal ability, and also I have an ability called Succor, which heals the group and applies the galvanize effect to them as well.
Which every healing job has an AoE heal. White mage is Medica, I believe. Yeah, Medica, and Astrologian is Helios?
Yes.
Yeah. And that hits everybody within a certain... Like, you can measure out the units of distance, and it'll hit everybody in your party within that unit of distance.
I mean, with those things being said, we all have, like, our own little nifty ways of making our classes a little different, and they're really, really fun to play because of it. Like, I have an ability as a scholar called Excultation, where, I use a thing of that's called my Ether Gauge, which is something that's shared with Summoner. Summoner gets to have 2, where Scholar gets to have 3 because they come from the same base class. There's a little time ticking now on this little status effect I've applied to Crow.
And I've got my mouse
once
over
that
it.
timer runs out, it will heal Crow, or if they go below 50% HP, it will also heal them.
Oh.
And it's a really useful heal too, because it's a pure potency of 800. So it's so nice between that and applying this thing called Sacred Soil, where each of the 3 healing classes have their own version of an AoE thing. Some of them heal, some of them reduce damage, combinations of the 2, etc.
Oh, look at that. All the pages went away.
Yeah, and it just worked. So the thing is, I can't access those until I've been involved in combat, because I have to be in combat to access my ether flow. So speaking of combat, there's my DOT spell. I'm going to be causing some damage over time with that, which is really important as a healer. Because that's about, that's the majority of damage from a healer. You need at least applied DOTs. We also each get our own attack. Mine is Broil 3 at this point, because I'm level 80. And then my AoE, which is not the same as Holy, that one has a cast time that causes stun. I have an instant cast Art of War, and it hits a little circle like this. It comes down, and I can just keep spamming it, which is useful for putting out some damage. It doesn't stun and prevent damage from being done, but it can still help finish off an enemy, especially if you pair that with a Ruin 2, which is also an instant cast ability. There's a lot more to Scholar, but it's so much to go into.
Yeah, well, if people
want,
we'll set up a time to go into some of these jobs more individually. But this is what's up, Mac?
I think my last things that I'll do is I'll summon Celine, just so y'all can see what she looks like.
Yeah, they used to have a difference in ability, but now they're just cosmetic, I think.
Essentially, they used to do different things. But this is Celine instead of Eos. She's a bit pink and yellow. She used to do something with shields and other stuff instead.
Yeah, you could see her casting a healing spell.
And then the only other one that I want to do is, here's Sarah. Once you're level 8, or level 80, you can summon Sarah.
Ooh.
You get to use her for a limited time in battle.
Oh, I gotcha.
And you can also order her to use this thing, Consolation, which heals everyone and gives them a little shield on top of Succor.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty.
Did not realize that.
She's lovely. And then there she goes.
Aw, bye, Seraph.
Okay. I think that's good for me.
Yeah, so that's
it's
Scholar.
Time for...
Shields and heals, they have an extra buddy to help them out. And their AoE is instant cast.
I think it's time for Alfian.
Yep, your turn. Show us what Astrologian can do.
Hello. So Astrologian was a healer that came later on from the original ones, and the creators of Final Fantasy XIV went, do you know what we have? We have someone that can do regens, we have someone do shields. What do we need next? Someone who can do both. Welcome, Astrologian. Kind of
Also-
like the jack of all trades, but not the best at for both regen and shield.
I would also argue, and again, I say this like I have any idea what I'm talking about. I would also argue that Astrologian's biggest advantage is the cards and the buffs that you
Yes.
can get from them.
Yes.
Turn this
so,
way. Turn this way. I can see better over here. There we go.
Better?
Yes.
So as you can see in Astrologian's lovely, instead of like a lovely scholar book or staff, we get, what is it?
An astrolabe.
An astrolabe,
And a deck
which
of cards.
is deck of cards. So go Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Would you like to? So, just like both White Mage and Scholar, we have our single targets. We have our Benefic.
Oh, isn't
We have
it
a
pretty?
bigger one, so Benefic 2. We also have Instacast 1 that does just in case.
Mhm.
Here's our AoE heal that we do. Now, the big thing with Astrologian is when it comes, sometimes we have a single target ability and an AoE healing ability that can change depending on what sect we're in. So right now I'm in something called Diurnal Sect, which gives those two abilities regen abilities. So if I do this, I have an instant cast dot or a heal over time, heal over time. And then I can use my aspected heals and give everyone around my area
Not
heal
to
over
interrupt.
time.
Gogo also
Go right
pointed out that he said the biggest strength of Astro would be light speed and neutral sect. Which
Yes,
is
so-
that level 80 abilities, Gogo? Neutral sect?
I don't think so. I think you have it before then.
Gotcha.
Do you have it on your hotbar, Altheon?
It is a level 80 ability. I don't have it yet.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, I gotcha.
Unfortunate. But neutral sect, I know what it is. It's basically, it lets you do both the same things for both nocturnal and diurnal sect. So you can both
that's
put
essentially
regens and shields at the same time for a certain amount of time, basically.
I gotcha.
So that's basically it for that one. You do have like your cooldown AoE that you just pop for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You do have an AoE heal / also damage output that if you leave it
Enemy
on the
AoE.
ground for a certain amount of seconds, it does a bigger heal and a bigger DPS.
I don't know.
And
Mom.
here it
Is that
goes.
an AoE?
Boom.
Ooh. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I
And
wish that
then-
effect lasted longer. That's really pretty.
And then Lightspeed, as you called it, basically it reduces the cost of all our spells by 50%. The cost of it by 50% and the cast times by 2.5. So basically, as long as the cast time is under 2.5 seconds, basically I can do instant cast heals
I see.
for a certain amount of time,
Oops,
which
sorry.
is very useful because
Mhm.
sometimes you'll have times where your tank is taking a whole lot of damage, but also doing a whole lot of AoE. There's a whole lot of damage throughout the rest of your party as well.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes casting it doesn't always work, so having that helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So the big thing is our cards that Crow said earlier. Is we have 6 different types of cards that basically let you buff your DPS or your tank or other healers to do more damage. Right now, I just draw the bowl, so which is your spellcaster that you want to give to a spellcaster. So I want to give it to Crow because if I give it to Crow, she gets 6% damage increase for 15 seconds. Instead of if I gave it to someone else that wasn't, they only get 3%.
And
The reason why.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
No.
Oh, I was gonna say we'll get into like the individual cards probably in another stream because there's a lot to go over with Astrologian.
Yes.
But keep going. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
And the reason why, so with Astrologian, we have each card, out of each card, 6 cards, they buff a specific way. 3 of them will do your rain DPS or healer, and 3 will help better if they're a melee or a tank. And then there's also ones that have a specific sign on them, a sun, a celestial, or a moon. The reason why that's important is once we add it onto someone, we have a buff called divination, that the more type of your seal, so if you have each type of one that you use, so you used one that had the sun, used one that had a moon, had the celestial, you can actually do an AoE DPS increase for everyone for up to 6% for 15 seconds.
Nice.
So that's why astrologians, even though they're kind of like the jack of all trades when it comes to healing compared to scholar or for white mage, we kind of help out with give DPS, which the other two don't.
Mm-hmm.
We do that as well. So right now I have what is called the arrow. So that's used for either tank or just Shaban. She would get a 6% increase in DPS other than 3%. Now, this is all RNG, which means that sometimes you'll have a card come up and you don't have melee that you want to have. So you kind of do your best by giving it to you try to give it to the DPS, even if it's not going to give them the big amount of DPS increase overall. But just because usually DPS they're the DPS, you want to give the DPS.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one also called the Spear to mech, because that's for melee. So now I can cast Call Divinate. Now have 3 types of units used. This is what it looks like.
Ooh,
now everyone in the party now has 6% damage per second.
Oh, okay.
That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I just got this ability called Celestial Intersect, which is a single target, both heal and shield. Even though if I'm not Journal Sect. There's Horoscope.
Oh, okay.
We just did it.
It's Go-Go.
Go. So Go, do you want to talk about Horoscope? Because I know that's getting some also like.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It was accidental.
Is Horoscope a level 80 ability?
It is.
It's a level 76 ability.
Oh, I gotcha.
But essentially, it applies like a little thing, just a little effect called Horoscope to everyone. And then once you use Helios or Aspected Helios, it changes the effect to called Horoscope Helios, which lasts longer than the other one.
Oh, okay.
And then once you use Horoscope a second time after that, it applies an additional heal, and that's really all it is.
Gotcha.
It's nothing that special.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think the only thing that's the only thing that's worth looking at that would be on my hotbar instead, since I'm level 80, would be Neutral Sect.
Oh, yeah.
So, because this is what it looks like once you use it and have the planets all around you.
Ooh.
And apparently I have to have in order to use Aspect of Helios, I have a Sect on. And there, now everyone has both a shield and a DOT at the same time, which is useful.
Yeah, for sure. It also looks very cool.
That's why I think that plus light speed using
that's very true. That is very true.
Is why I think that's the biggest strength. Also, it's really fun to spam gravity. Because then you can hit like a whole bunch of enemies at once.
Again, it also looks really cool. Like the aesthetic of the Astrologian job is one of my favorites in the game. It's just very pretty.
So yeah, these are your single target damage as well. So that's your dot, your buffed, plus 3. This is your Malefic for the final one that you get. Final version.
Yeah, and if people want us to go over the Astrologian in more depth in another episode, we will, because I know there's a lot to cover once you get into the level 80 stuff.
And then
your horoscope's no longer on cooldown.
Oh, that's very pretty.
And so then you use a regular thing, and now see how everyone has Horoscope Helios? Once you have that, use Horoscope again, and now notice that everyone gets healed from it. It's also gorgeous.
Yeah, like I said, easily one of my favorite aesthetics in the whole game.
And this is, I just like calling this it's your healing shield type of
Mhm.
thing comes up. You just can't move. The one thing with this move is if you move at all, even if you like change direction,
Yeah.
it pulls out.
Mm-hmm.
His
Yeah,
effect.
Monk has an uptime ability called a Knotman that keeps my stacks of Grease Lightning from fading that are the same way, where it can hold on for 30 seconds, but if I move, that it shuts off. And a lot of a lot of abilities like that have that limitation.
So, last sect as well. You know how Gogo was talking about nocturnal
Mm-hmm.
sect? There's something called nocturnal sect, which is basically instead of being able to regen, you heal.
Mm-hmm.
So your single target aspect one, aspectic benefit, aspectic, which is AS1. You can't really use those at all until you pick which sect you're in.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
The downside with this sect, though, is that it doesn't work with Scholar at all, because technically you can't stack shields on top of Scholar's shields.
Mm.
So usually, if say for instance, Gogo and I were healing Gogo Scholar, I only go in Diurnal Sect regen because I would be useful that way.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's kind of the rule more than the exception is if it gives you a buff from something, like the Dancer's damage up buff, you usually can't combine it with another buff of the same type. Usually. And there's 1,000 exceptions to every rule, but typically that's safe to assume that you can't combine buffs like that.
Yeah, so
The only one I wish they would make I wish they would make an exception for Astro and Scholar in this case.
Mm-hmm.
So I just added that.
Yeah, see, it swapped
and
from
it
Galvanized
swapped it,
to
yeah.
Nocturnal Field, and it doesn't let me have both at once.
It caused us to replace each other's
Yep.
shield,
Yep.
Yeah. So it's,
which is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
so usually when I go, that's the first thing if I'm in raid or trial, there's going to be more than one healer. The first thing I check is who's my other healer.
Yeah.
Another Scholar, definitely go to Journal. Depending on who I'm healing with, if I'll go fights, I might go Nocturnal Sect if I'm with a White Mage. Usually the best bet though, especially if you're starting out with Astrologian, is go Diurnal for your regen. It's a lot easier to figure out your healing that way. How it worked. And it's actually a lot more mana manageable
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
But yeah, so those are 3 healers: the reactive White Mage, the proactive Scholar, and the buffing Astro. It does a little bit of both of those. But what do they heal? They heal tanks most of the time. So let's go into tanks.
Yeah. Shiban has to go in just a minute, so we'll make this quick. Yeah, talk about Dark Knight. Tell us what you like about it.
Okay, so I find that Dark Knight gets a bit of flack actually for being the weakest for attack and such. At least that's what I've heard in regards to Dark Knight. It's not as strong as Paladin or say Warrior. It's Warrior, right?
Yeah.
But I find it's really fun. Also, I'm a really story-driven person, and I really like the Dark Knight story.
That's what I keep hearing. I've heard that the Dark Knight side story is one of the best, if not the best, job story in the whole game.
It's really fun, and one of my favorite NPCs actually in Shadowbringers is the tank class who gets introduced and is important to the tank storyline, Granson, who is just, I love Granson so much.
Okay, so tell us about tanking. Like how do tank?
So tanking, your job is essentially to be the tank, to be the shield between yourself and the less defensive classes. So you want to, when you're fighting, you want to be the main person with you want to have aggro, which is you want the boss to be focused. Oh, I don't want to say solely because they will attack the others, of course, but to focus solely on you, on which is why it's got the highest defense versus DPS and versus healer. You of course also have your own shields that you can pop on yourself. Like for Dark Knight, you've got your Shadow Wall and Rampart. I think Rampart is the same for all.
I think so.
For your magical defense, you have your Dark Mind and your later class one, which is Dark Missionary.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dark Missionary actually grants a buff, a defense buff to everyone too, as well, which you'll see. And
I real quick want to demonstrate something. Keep going.
So one of the most
there you go. That's what I was going for.
Every tank has a what's the word I'm looking for?
Tank stance.
Remember, has a tank stance. So for Dark Knight, that's great. And when you go that essentially raises your. I'm very bad at picking out words.
Enmity.
Enmity is the word.
It raises your enmity.
Welcome to the stream, Care.
Wait, is Care on? Hi, Care. And yeah, so your job is to make sure you have the highest enmity.
Enmity is like how much of the target's attention is on you.
How much the enemy wants to punch you in the mouth.
Pretty much.
How much they hate you.
Yeah, so when somebody says I've got hate from something, that means it's looking at me and it doesn't look happy.
Correct.
So right now I've got enmity from the striking dummy, but as soon as Shaban does her thing, you'll see it changed and now it's no longer on me. That little icon means that it has no interest in me now, and it's green is good.
I find Dark Knight is also just a really flashy class. Especially with when you're looking at Unleash, which is your AoE you get.
Yeah.
Which is another one that I've had people be like, wait, is that
yeah, I did too the first time I saw it. But yeah, if you watch on my screen, you can see that I can just attack it without having to worry about, it's just a striking dummy in this case, but I can attack it without having to worry about a monster coming on and even going through my big rotation. Pulling all of these combos and crits. It has no interest in me.
Each tank also has an ability that I'm not care the ability that essentially lowers your HP to 1.
That's
invulnerability.
Yeah. Several tanks have abilities where they will something will happen with their major defensive. It's like it's the tank's I'm clenching button. A lot of them have different
secondary effects.
Secondary effects. Sorry. I'm reading something else. For example, Dark Knight. Since we're on the topic of Dark Knight, is Living Dead.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cast that now, and that actually should bring my HP to 0. I don't know.
No, it will not lower your HP below 1%. Below 1.
No, right. Actually, if reading from the exact description from Living Dead, because Living Dead is different. So, Living Dead, reading from the description, grants the effect of Living Dead when HP is reduced to 0 while under the effect of Living Dead. Instead of becoming your status will change to Walking Dead.
Yeah. Not will lower, but when you get to 0% or 0 HP.
The only thing...
The important thing with Living Dead, though, is if you do that and you're not healed back up to 100%, by the time it's done, you will die.
Yeah, if you don't cure being a zombie, you just turn dead, and it's not.
Slight alteration of some of that wording. It's not so much that as much as you have to be healed for 100% worth of your HP. So even if you're not full HP by that time frame, if you've been healed for that right amount, you won't die.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know they semantics, but these semantics.
Yeah, sometimes you really have to watch the wording.
And then
that's SE for you.
Yep.
The other ability, where is it on the top? I don't have my enmity up there. Give me a second. Let me get my buddy.
Oh yeah, Shadow Friend.
Boulevard Broken Dream starts playing.
What band song?
So we get a Shadow Buddy, which is literally a duplicate who helps you fight.
Oh, I've never seen it like rise up out of the ground like that before.
Oh yeah, it makes sick chain noises too.
Oh yeah, I heard that. That's kind of cool though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Shadow Friend, like what's it actually called?
It is
Living Shadow.
Living Shadow. Yeah, Living Shadow just like improves the amount of damage that you do.
Basically doubles it.
Yeah.
Because it'll copy whatever move that you input and will do them after a slight delay.
Mm-hmm.
That is Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Once again, really,
The-
really good.
Yeah, the biggest thing with tanking is you're there to be a distraction. Like, you're there to keep the enemy's focus on you so that your DPS folks can do their damage.
And your
Or
job is to make
if you
sure
are-
the enemies are on you and not on your DPS.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a tank main, you call yourself the main event. Because nothing else matters but you.
Now, one of my favorite things about tanks is tanks are only as good as their healers, and healers are only as good as their tanks. Because if you have a shitty healer and you're a tank, you're not going to last very long.
Yeah.
Unless you're a paladin.
Lapsed Paladin.
Yeah. Meg, did you want to show off Gunbreaker?
Since we have our resident paladin here, I think they should go first.
Also,
And
I'm
then-
gonna get going. Please donate. And I hope you guys have a really good night.
Oh, yeah.
I will
Thank you for reminding me.
talk to you guys later.
Have a good
Bye.
night. Good luck at work
Good
tonight,
night.
Crystal. See you later. Thank you for
Good
coming
night.
on the stream.
Happy to help.
Bye.
Ragdoll.
Yeah, since she reminded me, don't forget, we are still raising money for Children's Miracle Network through Extra Life. Click the blue and white controller icon above the chat box to go straight to the donation page. If you donate, I get a notification, and it scares me because I'm a coward and easily startled. This is why I only play DPS. But yeah, 100% of the money does go to KU Pediatric Hospitals right here in Kansas City. It is such a good cause to donate to, especially with coronavirus is surging through the United States. I really cannot recommend them enough as a charity. They do such great work. Oh, Ulfian, where'd you go?
There's a big thing to discuss.
We'll get
off-stream.
you caught up later.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing to discuss off stream.
Yeah, we'll get
But,
you caught up later. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we've got our resident paladin here, I guess, has been voluntold to go next.
Hey.
Show us paladin.
I'm Kier. I'm a tank main. I have all 4 tanks at 80, but the main one that I started playing, my first class, was Paladin. Paladin is the, as like people call it, the brain dead tank. It is the most simple tank that FF has to offer. It is just like your straight, typical, you have a shield and you have a sword, and you do those things really, really, really well. If we're just running through like some class basics at the very beginning, you're not a real tank until you're hit level 74, because that's when you get your first ability to gap close, which in the Paladin it's called intervene. Not actually, you're still a good tank before that. You're just not a tank until you hit level 58. So how Paladin differs from other tanks is that when you talk about other tanks, you have like warriors' defenses and their ability to strike back against a certain object. You have Dark Knight's ability to hit the floor faster than every other tank. You have Gunbreaker's ability to actually have crazy defensives and also like self heals. But Paladin's bread and butter, in my opinion, is their self heal. Is their self heal and magic damage, just in general. Paladins get a cool skill called Clemency. And Clemency is based on your, whatever your magic thing is, I guess, your potency, and some other bullshit. But all you need to know is that Clemency heals you, and if I heal another friend with Clemency, I also get a heal from it. So if you heal a friend,
cool.
you also heal yourself. That comes later as a skill, or as a trait, I guess. Later on, but Yeah, Paladin's basic thing is you have a dot that you can apply on your end of your third combo in this form of Goring Blade. Every other class has like the damage buff thing, and then you have you have two rotations. You have a magical rotation and a physical rotation. So under Sword Oath, you have your physical rotation, in which you do that, and then you have a magical rotation, which is the ability to just cast magic. Because, man, why not have fucking your paladin or your tank be also a magic DPS? As well as every other class has something to benefit your friends. I have an ability called Divine Veil, which is one of the many ways of helping your friends out, which is upon recovery of a healing magic cast on a self or a party member, I perform a protective barrier. Is cast on all party members within the radius of 15 yalms, and it's 10% of my maximum HP. So in this case, it is, it's less than like a standard healer's whatever, but in this case, like 10% of my HPs, that's still 15,000. That's a significant amount of heal.
That's
and
not
also
a small amount.
Yeah, and that's under Divine Veil. So if now someone heals me, it'll get a shield. So it'll plus a shield. That's the little icon next to the sucker.
Yeah. I've been mousing over them as people talk about them.
Yeah. So it's just a small barrier nullifying damage. Also, what Paladins have is a bigger barrier in the form of two smaller abilities before we get to its biggest barrier. So I have the ability to also throw essentially a barrier onto someone, which reduces the party member's damage taken by 10%. But if I have Sentinel on, it is increased by another 50%. So I essentially use my defenses as a way to increase your defenses.
So what would you say is the big benefit to running Paladin versus, say, Warrior or Dark Knight?
You can outlive anything else. Because right now Paladins are not broken, but broken in the fact that we have more DPS than every other tank, and we have more healing than every other tank, as well as the way that one of our defensives goes up is by auto attack. So right now I have 50 of my Paladin Oath Gauge, which means I can use Shield Tron, and every time that I have another 50, I can use another defensive instead of waiting the typical 90 seconds on one of them or 185 on the other. As well as Paladins have the best holy shit move in the form of my favorite ability that this game has to offer. It's a little ability called Hollowed Ground, which it renders you impervious to most attacks for 10 seconds. It is busted. It is my favorite ability I've ever used, and it's my favorite thing to try and fuck with mechanics with, because I'm invincible. It works in PvP as well. We are the only tank to have it in PvP. And as well as other tanks have the Dark Knight has the ability to also help friends. So does Gunbreaker and one of their abilities. So does that. We also have another ability where I can not only single target people, but I can also have one of the coolest looking abilities and have Passage of Arms.
Remind me what Passage of Arms does.
Passage of Arms is it increases my block rate personally to 100% and creates an area behind me in which party members will only suffer 85% of the damage inflicted.
Oh, okay.
So it's essentially giving you one of my things.
Gotcha.
And then it lasts for 18 seconds.
Nice.
Or until I move. But yeah, Hollowed Ground I get fucking everywhere.
Nice.
As well as that, we do have all tanks have a way to stun things, but we also have Shield Bash, which means that we can have essentially an infinite stun on global, and I think that's kind of broken in some aspects.
Yeah.
As well as, not to mention, we have also the typical stun as every other tank does. But yeah, outside of your magic rotation and your thing rotation, your just general survivability is super. Yeah, Paladins can uniquely stun lock enemies.
And what that means is, as soon as one stun runs out, the Paladin can come in and kick up another one, and just keep the enemy stunned.
Stun, and then I can just keep an enemy stunned as long as they don't have the stun resistance.
Yeah, which if you watch the little icon, it says stun fully resisted. That means we can't stun the striking dummy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 consecutive typically.
Outside of that, the paladin has the unique ability to also cover something.
Oh, yeah.
As well. So I have cover. So I have a little tether, and we're now holding hands through a tether, and it just makes sure that all the 50% of the damage they receive goes to me.
Nice.
As I take the damage from them. So if it's like a priority target, like a healer or something like that, I can make sure that they don't get it. Also, we have 3 AoEs, as every other tank does.
Yep. Striking Dummy is immune to being stunned. The only thing more OP than Paladin.
Yeah. And at that, I'm pretty sure that's everything that Paladin has to offer.
Yeah. Paladins. Yeah, if you're thinking of joining the game under a new job, I would, if you're thinking of tanking, I would recommend Paladin. Yeah.
Paladin's a great starter tank to learn how to do it. But there's the best tank of all. And I think we that. Even though like Paladin on paper is like the best overall tank, Warrior is the fun tank. If Paladin is your, like the uncle or whatever who has like $1 million company, Warrior is the best friend who you just have always had, and it just feels like they've been there forever for everything you ever done. Warrior is bar none my favorite tank to play, and that's not just because of fell cleaving and critting all my fucking ass off. It's not because of I have abilities that hurt other people. Yeah, it is offense is the best defense, and you have just 1,010,000 health to do everything with.
Yeah, if you look at his HP bar compared to mine, he's got a solid almost 60,000 on me.
Yeah, I have 150k health. I mean, Mouse has more health than me because he's better too, so I digress. Warrior has a few unique things to them, like Thrill of the Battle, which is it increases my maximum EHP by 20. So if I just so I'm at almost at 200,000 health.
Yeah.
It just makes you big beefy boy for a second. And then increase my HP recovery during this for 20% as well. So not only am I just getting beefier, I'm also just easier to heal during the time with that. So that can just be used as a defensive. I'm just gonna get 20% healthier. We have the other best defensive, which is reduces the damage that I get taken by 30%. And every time that I suffer physical damage, I do a potency of 55 back to them in the form of vengeance.
Oh, okay.
So it gives me a vulnerability down, and it makes other people hurt for me. I have another ability that does that, but we'll get that later. In the form of like how Paladin has like cover, and the other one, we have the ability called Nascent Flash. What I grant Nascent Flash to myself and a glint to you. So the flash effect is I absorb damage dealt as HP. And Glint's effect is restores HP equivalent to 50% of the damage that I took. So, I'm also a healer if I do that. Because if I take the damage, you heal through the damage.
All of this sounds like a lot of math to the people watching at home. Nobody expects you to know how to calculate this on the fly. You just have to know that it works. You just have to trust that it works.
Every 6 seconds, the warrior can reduce the damage he takes by 20%. The cast timer is 25 seconds, and it lasts 6 seconds.
Gotcha.
So I can just immediately do that, what's called raw intuition, but it shares a cast timer with the ability that I just did, which is the healing one.
Gotcha.
So you sort of can pick and choose which one you would like to use in that way. If I get hurt at any time, I can just sort of shrug it off and use my ability called Equilibrium, in which I just heal myself.
Yep.
Unlike the Paladins, that's not on a mana wave-based thing. This is every 60 seconds, where you can just decide to heal yourself or not.
Gotcha.
Paladins have an ability called Home Gang. It's the same as Living Dead.
You mean Warrior?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Didn't I say Home Gang?
You said Paladin.
Oh, sorry. It's the same thing about about Paladin's Hollow Ground and Dark Knight's Living Dead, where I brace myself for an enemy's attack, preventing anything from reducing me less to 1 HP.
Home Gang
and also, when the target is selected, it halts their movement with chains. to start that real home gang shit. So that's what it looks like.
Ha!
Yeah.
Home gang shit.
Gang, gang.
Gang. I'm saving my favorite ability for last, obviously. But we also have other abilities like Shake It Off. As much as it is just a Taylor Swift song, and Warriors love Taylor Swift, it's canonically in there. It creates a barrier around myself and all my party members to people who hate that song. And what that does is that absorbs damage totaling of 15% of our maximum HP.
Nice.
If I have things like Thrill the Battle Vengeance or Raw Intuition, that increases the damage absorbed for 2% for each of those things that are up on.
Nice.
So I can in total it for 21% of damage, which is a lot of damage to be just not taking.
We're running kind of long on the stream today. Show us your favorite ability.
Cool. Warriors have an ability called Inner Release, which just makes me fucking crit all the goddamn time, and that can be chained with any of your other abilities. In this case, it's fucking Fell Cleave, it gives you unlimited rage, and you can just fucking spam Fell Cleave. The best sound in the game, it's the best ability, plus that.
All of those with the double exclamation points are critical hits.
Yeah. Also, we have an ability called Infuriate, because we just like being fucking pissed off, and then we can also just do it fucking again. And we can just crit again and again. And that's why Paladin, and that's why for a Warrior, you just don't build crit, you just build direct hit, because crit's built into the class. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so Warrior is if you have stuff to work out, and just need to get it off your chest.
Hell yeah. Warriors is funny glam times and getting angry, I think.
Yeah. Mac, your turn.
Okay.
Your turn again.
I guess. So listen, I can't explain it as detailed as that, but I can tell you that I just know how to tank. But
You're a good tank.
Gunbreaker basically blue balls the tank in the sense that a lot of tanks can mitigate damage, but Gunbreaker's big thing is that it can DPS, but it stays just out of death. And that happens based on two abilities, really, which I will save my favorite ability for the end. I can already see Ophian is having PTSD.
When you show, I know exactly what you're about to do. We have a couple stories about that.
They will tell you exactly my favorite ability, but for the most part, Gunbreaker is a tank that operates like a DPS, but doesn't quite do the damage of Warrior or like a normal DPS class.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a lot of survivability. I will say its rotation is fucked.
It's not. It's just, can you remember 3 rotation with a sub?
So what makes Gunbreaker particularly different than the other tanks that we've seen?
First off, the rotation. You have 3 different rotations.
You got to
I know that sounds weird.
Mama says, "Can you count to 9?" Real weird.
Yeah, exactly. So most rotations, sort of, if you've ever studied music theory.
I love this.
That's a good point.
BPM, and things have like a BPM, and it's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breakers 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 14, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 8, 10.
Let's see. Do I have my stuff to on my Gunbreaker?
Oh yes, 11T7.
Nope. Oh, well.
Exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 5, 8, 6, 9.
I think I can swap to Gunbreaker right now. Let's see.
Do you have it at 80?
No, I don't, but
Okay, if you
it's
don't
enough
have
to
it at
like
80,
show off some of the it's enough to show off what the UI looks like. So yeah, it's a lot of the same setup as the other tanks, where you have your tank stance. You have your tank stance, and like the whole point is to be the meat shield. So like tell us what about Gunbreaker differentiates it.
I was just talking about the rotation.
Yeah,
So,
Besides, continue.
I think it's 70 or 80. No, 70. 70, you learn a move called Continuation. And what that is after your second rotation, you use that and you get a little kind of move.
Mm-hmm.
And that just improves your DPS all over. Other than that, there is Heart of Stone, Heart of Light, just stuff to help you live just a bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, of course, my favorite. But I'll just do a simple rotation, and then at the end I will do my favorite ability, and everyone can talk about all the PTSD I give them when I play.
So yeah, you cannot unlock Gunbreaker without Shadowbringers, and you cannot unlock Dark Knight without Heaven's Word. However, if you're playing on a free trial, you can get Dark Knight as soon as you get into Heaven's Word. The other two you can start out with if you want.
Because they were constantly getting heals. I can't even do it.
Oh, I can.
Oh, rip. Yeah, you can Super Blood.
Let's see.
I can't do it for another 98 seconds.
So Super Blood takes me down to 1 hit point and gives me invulnerability for, what is it, 12 seconds? 6 seconds. It's... Well, let's find out. Uh, 8 seconds, yeah. So, funny story, I was on the FF14 Reddit, subreddit, and this was right after Shadowbringers had come out. People were still learning how to use Gunbreaker properly, because it's a little bit, to me at least, impenetrable as far as like how to do it properly. But this poor white mage was talking about being in a dungeon or something, and they saw in their chat, using Super Bolide, healers adjust. And if somebody says healers adjust, hey, be prepared, I'm gonna need some big healing. And this poor white mage used the benediction on himself instead by accident.
No.
The big healing move on himself by accident. And then the next comment was just somebody saying, hell of an adjust. What were we running when you were pulling your prank on Cam, though?
So we were running Snowcloak, everyone's favorite dungeon, Snowcloak. It was the move of Fenrir. And if you don't know about Super Bolide, as a healer, it just looks like you weren't paying attention. And we were all just like talking as a normal conversation, so we knew that Cam wasn't paying attention. Or that, half everyone was, because it's just Snowcloak, no one would pay attention. So I Super Bolide it, and I was like, Cam, are you paying attention? Cam! And like all of a sudden he just looks and he just starts shitting himself with healing. And then me and Matt was just start laughing because I know what I've done. And I know that I wasn't gonna die.
I quickly left the party and walked.
Oh, afterwards, yeah. And then, he said, Cam sent me a message, it was just like, you fucking dick.
So yeah, there's abilities that can be used. Super Bolide is one, Rescue is another. Can be used to
Don't
prank your friends.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. What am I trying to say?
Oh no.
You're the one reading into this, not me.
Why'd you have to mention Rescue? There's a lot of other abilities.
I am talking about things that can be used to prank your friends.
I wouldn't know anything with that.
No, of course not. Yeah, you can... Rescue is an ability that yanks a party member towards you out of danger in a perfect world. In an imperfect world, into danger, because sometimes the people you play with are dicks.
I'm not a dick.
Anyway, Super Bolide is another one like that, where if you really want to give your healer heart failure, you Super Bolide without saying anything. I do not recommend this until you are like comfortable with the combat system, though, because that can lead to a lot of really, really uncomfortable situations where your healer has to scrape you off the ground instead. So yeah, that's it for combat, I think. We talked about cooldowns, we talked about AoEs, hit points. Oh, item level is the last thing. So Final Fantasy XIV has a level cap, which, as you can see, we're all level 80 right now. That's as high as we can go until probably the next expansion, I would assume. Which, if they can get back onto their schedule, will probably be announced soon and will come out not this coming summer, but the summer after. But if you look here, and you can see my little gingerbread person, and 483, that is the average item level of all of the stuff I'm wearing. So, like, if you look under magic damage, under Tailkeeper, it says item level 485. And you have to have a certain level of gear preparedness, if you will, to do endgame content. Like, if I'm below a certain item level, it won't let me into stuff. So that's what that is. A lot of the stuff you either pick up through progression through the story, market board, farming, etc. And we'll talk more about that in another stream. What else? There's one other thing. Oh, line of sight is pretty self-explanatory. Like, if I'm standing behind the pillar and I can't see the striking dummy, I can't hit it, of course. Yeah, that was pretty much all I had. Did anybody else have any, closing comments, thoughts, concerns?
Dungeon Cook.
Yeah, that.
I can do that.
Yeah, so as far as this one, it's just it's job capabilities and what they could do in like a vacuum, and then just practical applications and doing like enemy mechanics. That's like a whole other thing as far as combat goes.
Yeah, and you know, we're doing trials tomorrow, I think. Let me check. I want to say it's trials is our theme for tomorrow, so you'll see some of this in action. Yeah, trials. Tomorrow is trials, and then Sunday we'll be doing, well, we'll be attempting Savage content, which is the like high-end endgame stuff that is meant to be more of a challenge than what you would find in your average encounter. So yeah, please look forward to that. Mawas, do you want to plug your stuff real quick?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Laheim. You can find me at twitch.tv/Laheim on Twitch, and twitter.com/Laheim tweets.
Mech, your turn.
I'm Mech. Follow me on Twitter at Dance Meckland. If you want to hear me complain about my life, follow me at Nada Thornberry. On Twitch, I am BOS Dance, that's BOSDANSE, which BOS stands for Band of Sometimes. As you can see from our glorious new FC. Oh my god, sorry, I've been so excited about that.
We're very excited about it. Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which should be in the chat box now. You can follow me on Twitter at Crowdalava. I'll do stream announcements, memes, screenshots, cat pictures, giveaway, charity announcements and whatnot, all that good stuff there. Follow me here on Twitch at Conspiracy of Crows. Follow my fellows in the Band of Sometimes at their stuff, which has been linked in the chat box. Please consider donating to Extra Life. It is an excellent charity. I cannot overstate the good work that they do. And since we all have recently picked up the motorcycle mount, please also consider checking out Bikers Against Child Abuse. And tomorrow, like I said, we will be doing trials, so 8-person trials, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.